Hello everyone and welcome to the Redmen TV. It is our weekly Liverpool Transfer Podcast. I'm Steve Hoare, joined by Dan Clubb and Chloe Bloxman to have a chat about the week that was in the Liverpool transfer sphere, whether it be news, rumours, linked players and all that good kind of stuff. We're going to be speaking about Sepp Berg, Teun Koopmeiners, Adrian Rabiot, Karim Adeyemi, and of course, as always on this show, because we're live, we'll be asking you guys for some suggestions of any chats or questions you want us to speak about as well, guys. Thanks so much. Let's get straight into it with story number one. Chloe, I'll start with you. So James Pearce of The Athletic, of course, friend of the show, he reported earlier in the week that Liverpool have turned down offers from Mainz and Wolfsburg for Sepp Berg. The defender set to be handed the chance to shine in the upcoming friendlies. He's really impressed Arne Slot and his staff since returning for pre-season at Kirby last week. It goes on in the piece saying, he's done really well in all of the physical testing, which was one of the areas a lot of people had doubts about when it comes to Sepp Berg. Is he quick enough? Is he strong enough? Is he athletic enough? Well, the testing suggests he's developed well, whether it be at Preston or more recently at Mainz. Do you see a world where Sepp Berg is Liverpool's fifth choice centre back going into next season? And if so, are you happy with that?
I think it's a possibility because, especially with what you've seen from inside training and everything, it looks like Slot is a massive fan of Sepp Berg. What I would say is that I don't know loads. I obviously know he did well with Mainz, but I don't know whether he's Premier League level. And we will not know that until we actually see him do it. I'm excited that we get to see him for pre-season. I thought that was something, even before he came out and fumed, I was excited to see him come back and see what he was all about in the pre-season. Because when we did sign him in 2019, I think it was, I was actually excited. The potential prospect of how good he could be, where his ceiling was at. I was excited when we signed him, and then at the start of this transfer window I just thought his attitude was absolutely awful, because it wasn't like he was coming back to Jurgen Klopp, who maybe he didn't favour him. He was coming back to a new manager, and it wasn't just a manager who he didn't know of. It was a compatriot. It was a fellow Dutchman who he knew and had seen before pre-season had started. So I didn't particularly like his attitude when he came out and was basically like, "You're hindering my career, I want to leave." I thought he should have came back and really tried to make an effort to impress Slot and potentially make his way into our squad for the start of the season. But since then, clearly he has put the work in, and look, he's done great on the fitness test and stuff, which is great to see. But I can't say whether I want him to be our fifth choice. I still would like another centre-half, specifically left-footed. But we'll get to know him in pre-season and see if he is at the level.
Absolutely. For those who aren't aware, by the way, it was in June, speaking into Telegraph, he said something about Liverpool saying, "You didn't exactly exude confidence in me all this time, but you do want to hinder me and my future. I want to keep playing every week and develop myself further. In Germany, I enjoyed Dortmund away, 70,000 people, Bayern Munich away against Harry Kane. I've been to Stuttgart, Leipzig, Leverkusen against clubs like that. I'm challenged every week." This came out then when it was reported that Liverpool were looking for £20 million for him. A month or so later, it appears that he is going to be given a chance. Now, it's worth mentioning, all of Liverpool centre-backs have been away for the most part. It's only really Gerald Quansah who's been around. Van Dijk, Konate, Gomez, all been, of the first choice options, of course, have all been away. So it might be Liverpool need centre-halves for the tour. And this might be a way of just sweetening the deal a little bit. But it appears like Arne Slot likes him. All the videos that we've seen of inside training and stuff show that there's some type of relationship there. Just see this one that be a relationship that can be mended, and the fact that Liverpool might say to Sepp Berg, hang around, there's enough game time here for you, and also be comfortable with the fact that you are one or two injuries away from Sepp Berg being your centre-half for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, I'd say all those things could probably happen and coexist quite peacefully, actually, to be honest with you. Kind of with Chloe a little bit, in so much as we haven't seen him play any prolonged period of time in Premier League football whatsoever. So there is that still element of the unknown, but there'd be that with nigh on every single signing that you made as well, providing they came from outside the Premier League. So that is a thing, but it's not necessarily the deciding factor for me. As you mentioned there, the metrics in terms of in the round training training really impressive as well. A lot of the feedback we've had from his time, his spell at Mainz has been really positive too. So yeah, I think there's a lot to that. And I think the relationship being broken, in inverted commas, which it certainly appeared to be back in June when those comments surfaced as well. I guess that was sort of Sepp van den Berg looking at it through the prism of the old regime. And he was right, really, wasn't he? You know, whether, listen, I made Klopp and co correct in their assessment of where Sepp van den Berg was at and what he needed in terms of development. When I first seen him, you know, he was hardly the jewel in the crown of Liverpool's crop of youngsters, was he? He was a decent footballer, but needed to develop physically, needed to develop in terms of experience, in terms of his quality, and he's gone away and done that, so you can't really argue. But in terms of where we're at now, fast forward to this current situation, it's no great surprise to me that Arne Slot's spoken to him for all the reasons you just said. We're going to need him in pre-season as a minimum, you would imagine. But you mentioned it, Chloe, both Dutch, you know, they're from a very similar area in terms of Zwolle in the Netherlands, so no surprise to see they're getting on well. I noticed it almost immediately in some of the videos and some of the footage in training last couple of weeks. He just looked happy. I really made up to be there, and that wasn't to say I was suggesting he was going to be really negative and throwing stuff around, just be fuming because he was back at Liverpool, but he genuinely looked like he was just getting his head down, cracking on. So yeah, I think if he impresses enough, let's have it right. Nobody 12 months ago would have expected João Neves to be in the position he's in now. He got his head down at training pre-season, impressed during that period of time. There's nothing for me telling me that Sepp van den Berg can't do exactly the same thing and make himself that fifth choice. Now, the only wrinkle in everything I just said there is if Sepp van den Berg's happy to be fifth choice, because you've just said it there, he was playing at the highest level in Germany, in those big stadiums, against those big teams, and he wasn't just playing, he was performing, properly performing, like leading metrics in terms of the entire league, let alone just at Mainz. So if you have a conversation with him and say, listen, you've done brilliantly, you've had a really good pre-season, I want you to stick around, but you are going to be fourth or fifth choice, maybe he then looks at that and goes, I want to play him, sorry.
Yeah, we'll see how he acts in that situation. He said in that interview a while ago, Chloe, like he's the one who negotiated those loans, he has to get out.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he pans out. We've got a comment here from Russell who says he played very well in a top 5 league, he is ready. And then Craig says people are sounding like the same people who had to go Gomez, give the bloke a chance and then decide on him. It looks to me like that's exactly what's going to happen. Arne Slot is for, you know, clean slate for everybody. Fair enough, you didn't suit what Jürgen wanted from his centre backs, but you might suit what I want from mine. I see no issue in having a look at him. No. The one thing you do risk here is if Mainz and Wolfsburg want him now, that's all well and good. But if they get told no and move on to other targets, them offers might go. So if Liverpool are looking to offload a player down the line because they've got a signing lined up or whatever, by turning offers down now, unless you're on the slider going, we just need a bit more money for him, you go back to what you said before, hindering his career, because if he's going to kick off and also freeing up room in a squad and things like that, it's risky from Liverpool to reject bids for what seemed to be an unhappy player and one who you probably might be happy to get rid of if you can make a signing as well.
Yeah, but also, look, he might have something there that means he's absolutely top quality, and us as Liverpool fans just haven't been able to see it in the Premier League because he's not been here. So Liverpool have got to make sure that they're 100% sure that he is not at the level or has the qualities that Slot wants, and we have to put us first. Yep. Whether players are coming in for him or not, we've not got enough centre-halves to play in America in a couple of weeks' time, because everyone seems like, you know, Konate is still going to have those 3 weeks off. Virgil van Dijk's now only just starting his 3 weeks before he comes back to pre-season. So Gomez still off, you know, so there is a lot of players who won't be available for a large part of Liverpool's pre-season, and you're going to have to use a centre-half. Why not, you know, kind of, kill two birds with one stone in terms of seeing if he's good enough, giving him the kind of arm around the shoulder and saying, hey lad, go and prove yourself then. You've moaned about it, go and do it, you know, and then have a taste of your own medicine, because if you're not good at the end of it, then we'll let you go. I don't think Liverpool are going to get 20 mil for him anyway. I mean, I love Michael Edwards and you know, I think Richard Hughes will be very good for that, but 20 mil still is quite high according to whoever are coming in for him. So I think Liverpool have to prioritise them first, and if you lose a couple of million or whatever on not being able to sell them until near the end of the transfer window, then that's what you're going to have to do. First of all, you've got to get the pre-season sorted. So I think it's a good chance for him. It's a good chance for Liverpool to see where he's at and Arne Slot. And if I was him, I'd be absolutely made up to get this chance because, like I've just said there, all of the centre-halves are nowhere to be seen right now. So go and make an impression.
Absolutely. As it stands, Liverpool's senior centre-halves that tour are going to be João Neves, Sepp van der Berg and Nat Phillips. And we know Nat Phillips is for sale. Yeah. Liverpool have named the price for Nat Phillips. It's £8 million. People know that they want to come and get him. They can get him. So, listen, I'm sceptical, Dan. I'll be honest. It's my point of view on Sepp van der Berg. But again, I'm judging this off the Sepp van der Berg I've seen for Liverpool in the past. But if you'd have said to me 12 months ago, João Neves is going to be your senior centre-back, like, players can develop and players can get better. And I don't think it's the worst thing to give everybody a chance and be open-minded and say, listen, absolutely give it a chance because, again, I go back to it. A year ago, Liverpool were probably in the market for a centre-half. They saw João Neves in pre-season and were like, hang on a minute, we might have something here. We can use resources elsewhere. They obviously got distracted isn't the wrong way, right word. It's more because Henderson left them for Fabinho, left. They had other priorities that they had to fill, and it gave João a chance, and he backed it up to the hill. You know, Conor Bradley got a chance and took it. Yeah. Like, there's no reason Sepp van der Berg can't do that. No. So as a fan from my point of view, I'm more than willing to get behind them, and it looks like Liverpool are doing the same.
And in terms of like the prospect or the stock that they have in the bank with which to kick on from and go and do that, Sepp van der Berg is way above and beyond João Neves and Conor Bradley, with all due respect. Like, João Neves was off the back of a 15-game spell, I think it was, in Bristol Rovers, which was, you know, I spoke to somebody close to that club at the time and it was perfectly fine, but it wasn't exactly, you know, he wasn't pulling up trees and people were saying, exactly, people would say he has to be involved in Liverpool next year. The conversation was more like, oh yeah, there's something there, you can see he's got ability, who knows if he develops, and let's just wait and see, and all that sort of stuff. And likewise with Conor Bradley, a very good season on loan at Bolton, but with due respect, on loan at Bolton in League One, where Sepp van der Berg has had really quite a stellar season in what is a top 5 European league, actually. So, and he's performed and scored goals against some of the clubs you mentioned before. I'm sure he scored against Borussia Dortmund. So, yeah, there's a lot to like there. And I had a conversation with somebody literally a couple of days ago who played centre-half partner with him at Mainz last season and said he's so quick. And all the misgivings that I had about him, similar to yourself, like his physicality, his lack of pace, they seem to have gone now. He says he can jump so high as well. He mentioned his aerial prowess. So, yeah, he is starting off from a position, I say, way beyond where João Neves and Conor Bradley probably were. So there's no reason why he can't take this opportunity in pre-season, because the likelihood is Nat Phillips won't be there. Definitely none of the other senior lads will be as well. So there's a good chance he's going to be the senior centre-half partner, actually, when it comes to him and João Neves. So maybe not in Liverpool terms, but in terms of experience and age. So he should be looking at this next month or so, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it is, and saying, I can really stake a claim and put my name in the frame for not just the 5th choice centre-half spot, but he clearly backs himself as well. Those comments there suggest he backs himself. So he'll be looking at it going, I can make myself 3rd choice, you know, even get myself into the actual starting partnership. So I'm excited. I relish it. That sort of competition for places are what makes squads good. It's all well and good having a settled start 11, but you need someone pushing you all the way. I want to see Bukanase come back when he does come back to pre-season with a bit of fire in his belly, because he's been ousted by João Neves. He's not kicked the ball in anger for France in the Euros. He should be coming back saying, 18 months ago, people were talking about me as being one of the best centre-halves in the world, and now where am I? So those defenders pushing themselves every inch of the way. Virgil van Dijk's an exception, but the other lot, that can only be a good thing for Liverpool.
Absolutely. We'll see how it all pans out, and we'll see if Liverpool do sign a centre-half, or if Arne Slot's going to be true to that word and give Sepp van der Berg a go, and we'll go from there. Let's move on to midfielders then. It was reported in Italy that Liverpool are keen on signing Atalanta midfielder Teun Koopmeiners. Yeah, according to reports in Italy, Liverpool manager Arne Slot has put him at top of his transfer wish list this summer. He knows all about him, of course, having worked together at AZ Alkmaar, and he apparently is keen on a reunion. That's from Italy. For those who were watching, that's been translated kindly by the guys over at Court Offside for us. Chloe, I'll start with you. We've got some comments here from some of our viewers about Koopmeiners. So the first one, Koopmeiners is a class player, one of the most underrated footballers going. But then Tiny Budder, nice username, he's a great player, but please, no more attacking midfielders. And that is what I'm going to start with, that question. We'll get on to how good he is in a minute. Of all the positions in the pitch that Liverpool might be covered in, number 8, there's so many of them. There's from Elliott to Szoboszlai to McAllister to Jones to Gravenberch. I probably missed 4 or 5 that I even talked about there. Can you see a world where Arne Slot goes, you know what, it's a guy I really like, guy I've worked with before, he just comes in and is my starting 8? Because that's what you'd be asking probably if you did go and try and sign Teun Koopmeiners.
He's not good enough to come and play as our starting number 8. I think.
You think they're all better than him?
I don't know whether all is the right word, but we spent 70 mil on Dom Sobo, and I want to see what he is like as an 8. I think obviously he had a great start to the season last season and then struggled. Hopefully he can get back to that form, and if he gets back to that form, I don't think you're displacing him. Alexis McAllister, he's outright not better than that lad. That lad's quality is absolutely world class. Liverpool don't need another number 8. Harvey Elliott, I think, is sensational. You're going to absolutely limit his development if you bring in Koopmeiners. Curtis Jones, who I think has had really good highs in the last 2 seasons, but also, hasn't been consistent in terms of being able to play because he obviously got that red card, he got a couple of injuries, and players just played those positions instead. I think there's far too many 8s there for you to bring in another, and if he was to come in, I want you to there's more areas that need prioritising, including a TM, and I think if you brought Koopmeiners in, the thing that I'd do my head in is it's limiting other players, and I don't think he's better than some of the players we've already got. So if you're not better, if you're not making that starting 11 instantly better, why are we spending that much on another 8? We've got far too many of them in the bank. So he's an alright player, but it's just not something I'm interested in.
I suppose, Dan, because you always want depth, and not every signing you make goes into your first team. Some of them do provide depth and provide quality depth, but again, go through Szoboszlai, Elliott, Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch, so there's 5. I'm probably not even missing. There's probably more in there. Like Koopmeiners, he goes into that rotation, don't get me wrong, and if you're ranking them all, he might be somewhere in the middle, but it doesn't feel like a position where Liverpool are crying out for more depth. If anything, like I say, some of those guys are already going to be struggling to get game time as it is, and in a team that has got other needs in its first 11 and in its squad, it feels like almost like a waste of resource. Would be my opinion on this.
I would agree, to be honest. Yeah, I think when you've got, I would look at someone like Bobby Clark. I know it's a bit of a mad place to start, really, but the likelihood is that he goes out on loan. Now, he was in around the first team for large parts of last season, and obviously he played a little bit as well, scored a goal here and there, ended up finishing the Carabao Cup final, finished it well, I might add. And when you're already sort of trimming the fat of your number 8 options, your attacking midfield options, why would you get rid of one who's rated very highly in 20-year-old Bobby Clark to go and splash out 40-50 million on Teun Koopmeiners, who's 26 and is currently injured, I think, having missed the Euros for Netherlands? So I do like the player. I think his numbers are exceptional. He definitely sort of provides the end product and what you'd want from an attacking midfielder. Really, really impressive. Was made captain, I think, at AZ Alkmaar under Arne Slot, so he's clearly a player that Slot likes a hell of a lot. There's no two ways about that. I just don't see the logic in it for all the reasons you both just mentioned there, and the age profile and all that sort of stuff as well. And again, priority in terms of transfer market and where the funds need to be allocated. Chloe makes a great point in terms of if he was so exceptional, he would come in and instantly make our first team better. Different conversation. He's not of that level for me. He just goes into that rotation. He's in and around your Gravenberch and your Szoboszlai levels for me. He's not Alexis McAllister. He'd still be the standout. So, yeah, I don't see the merit in it whatsoever. And that's not to say that he's a good player, by the way, because I do. I think he's a very good player. And 2 years ago, when we were doing the midfield rebuild conversation last year, when you take Kefren Tarams and your Manu Kones were getting spoken about, I'd have been quite interested in Teun Koopmeiners at that point. A year further down the line, I just don't see it. Also,
I'm pretty sure I thought he was on his way to Juventus. And
there's a lot of teams in Italy at the moment are pretty pissed off with Juventus. I think it feels like, and that there's again reports like issues around.
They just signed Kefren Tarams as well, ironically enough. Yeah.
But he kind of brushed off Liverpool because there was rumours at the start of the transfer window, and it was like he'd absolutely said no. I'm always off to Juve.
If we lost a mad midfielder, nobody expected to lose. You mentioned Henson and Fabinho. We probably sat here this time last year saying, well, they're not going anywhere. Turns out they did, as it transpired. If we were to lose someone crazy from left field who nobody anticipated, I'd then look at Teun Koopmeiners because of the stuff we've just said. Almost a flip side, and it works in the opposite way, whereby if you lost a Dom Szoboszlai, for argument's sake, you went and got a Koopmeiners who Arne Slot worked with, Arne Slot trusts, he knows how to get the best out of him, then those boxes become good things. But right now, with Dom Szoboszlai and the rest still in situ, it just doesn't make any sense.
Everyone's younger as well than him.
Can I cut across you? I do apologise there, because it is worth mentioning, and it's a good point. that was made by Dennis V in the chat. Koopmeiners was mainly a 6 at AZ.
You're not at the level
Arne
of
Slot.
Declan Rice or Rodri, so you're not being me number 6.
I'm just saying, he played 103 times as a DM for AZ Alkmaar. So if Liverpool are looking for a 6, and you're right, I don't know what type of level they're looking for, but if Arne Slot really likes him, and he thinks that he's a good player, and he knows he likes him as a DM as well, does that change your opinions? And if Liverpool say Arne Slot really likes Koopmeiners and he thinks he's bringing him in as a 6, does that change how you feel about that at all? Because the way Atalanta play is so different than most teams. He's in that pressing system where it's a man-marking system, and it's fantastic and it works. And listen, it got them all the way
worked on us.
It certainly did.
It worked on Leverkusen.
It worked on Leverkusen to a point as well. Well, it definitely did, because there was a big trophy at the end of it. Yeah. Does that change your thinking on it at all if Liverpool are looking at Koopmeiners more as a 6 than an 8?
Yeah, yes and no. Me and Chris discussed this as a possibility in terms of him being an option. I just don't see him as being, when I'm talking 6, I'm talking specialist 6, and you're looking, whether you like it or not, you're looking at your Rodris and your Declan Rices of this world. Just don't see him as that. And I get the honest.
Is anyone that who's available?
The availability, I mean, yeah, probably actually, yeah. They're closer to it. Manuel Ugarte is probably closer to it than Koopmeiners, I'd say. Yeah. Personally, João Neves as well, at Benfica as well. In a different
big price tag on that.
Huge price tag, of course there is. Yeah, but listen, the big price tag on Moises Caicedo, and yet Liverpool decided to enter that race at the last minute. So that's where I'm at with it. Listen, again, I come back to it. I really like Koopmeiners. I just don't see him as the out-and-out 6 that I want us to go and get. I think we have lots of similar types. Alexis McAllister, you could argue that he played X amount of games as 6 last year for Liverpool. Do I think he's the answer there? No, not necessarily. So, come back. I really like Teun Koopmeiners. I think he's a very good player. And again, 18 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago, I'd have been all over this one from a Liverpool point of view. I just don't see it right now as being a perfect fit.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we'll move on then. Speaking of other midfielders, then if I can't interest you in a Teun Koopmeiners, can I interest you, Chloe, in an Adrian Rabiot? According again, reports.
No. Give me Koopmeiners instead of Rabiot, please, every day of the week. According
to reports again in Italy, now that France are out of the Euros, Adrian Rabiot is looking to move on to his next club. Liverpool are reportedly one of the teams interested in taking him on a free transfer. 29 years old, French international, midfielder, probably can do a 6 type role if you need them to.
Paul Pogba. A bit older than he actually, Paul Pogba.
Less allegations against them as well. Currently not banned from playing football.
Currently not banned. You can play football.
Which is a massive caveat when you're looking for a footballer. If you can get one who's allowed to play footy, it certainly helps you out. You're not having it?
No.
Don't fancy it at all? See anything in the link, or do you think it's BS?
If there is anything in the
link,
why is this? Quite frankly, I don't know.
Why?
He's just not that good.
Really?
He's good for France. Okay. Then you go to club for Juventus, and it's all, what is the word? And I'll say it with Koopmeiners as well, if we were to get him as a 6, it's not exciting. It's just...
Okay, it doesn't wet the whistle.
I'm not sure I'd use that saying, but sure. It's
juices just flowing. Doesn't get your juices flowing.
That's worse.
No, that's worse. Let's maybe not do that one either.
They're both perfectly normal.
I'd say wet the whistle is better than juices flowing.
But they're perfectly normal.
No, I'm with you. I'm just trying to think what Chloe could say.
No. Anyway, moving on.
I'm trying to think of something like the Scouse way of saying.
Oh yeah, Chloe wouldn't say that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the Scouse way of saying.
The Scouse. Okay, yeah.
What about like it would be sound but not boss? Kind of.
I think she was thinking something more profound than that, which was coming in.
Yeah.
Either way, doesn't matter. It's a bit of a letdown, is what I'd say. Those two signings.
Supernova said it would be a very whelming player, which I think is a good way of putting it. Like you're not overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed by it, and you're not like gutted about it. You're just like,
It's like you might be gutted though.
No, I think I am gutted.
So you'd be
underwhelmed. By far. For me, 29 years of age, on 200k a is Mahrez his agent, and oh my god,
he loves the Reds,
the baggage there. That's my problem.
God, he nearly forced his way out of Juve a couple of years ago, all because of money. And his mum was at the forefront of that. Once again, he's not a specialised 6. He's not good enough to... if I want someone as the number 6, and I don't know whether they're fully out there, but you might be able to get the closest thing to it, who could be on the level of Rodri or is the next Declan Rice. I don't want to bring a player in who, might be good for 2 seasons, but you're not really bridging that massive gap between them. And Rabiot for me is just a really underwhelming signing. Like I said, 29. Why are we signing him? I get it's a free transfer, so you save money on that, but 200k a week on a player who I don't really care for, and I know he might like the Reds, but I'm not bothered.
Dan, Rabiot?
Similar, yeah. There's loads of Liverpool fans out there, and I don't want them to play for Liverpool either. Like celebrities and that. I don't. Yeah, no. I think it's slightly higher of him than Chloe does. I think in terms of his ability.
I'm not sure it'd be worse.
No, it's hard. I think he's a good player. I
Worse.
think he's a very good player at 100. And I'm not.
For France.
I can't sit here and say that he wouldn't improve Liverpool's squad because I'd be lying if to be told. But I think the wages involved are astronomical for the player he is. Probably even more so given the fact he will be a free agent. He'll be demanding, Ismail will be demanding big money. And I don't like that whole thing you mentioned there, the Juventus stuff. It feels like there's often a lot of drama and baggage around it, and I don't want that at the club necessarily. It just doesn't feel like a perfect fit at all. I think actually, in a weird way, if we'd have had, and I keep harking back to last season, so forgive me, but these are the people we're talking about. If we'd have had the Moises Caicedo and the Romeo Lavia saga play out in the way that we did before we went to Wataru Endo, I actually think had Adrian Rabiot been available as a free agent then, and we just turned to him instead of Endo, that would have been perfectly fine. Because you feel like that stop-gappy type, I should say. But we don't need that right now. We have Wataru Endo. Yeah. And they're very different in terms of players, but Wataru Endo is probably going to be around for a season or two. I think Rabiot will be similar. I don't see why adding another one then makes any sense. I'd rather sign somebody who's 21, 22, who could be something special, and not gamble and put all your money into Rabiot. Also,
I mean, instead of spending 200k on that lad a week, put that in the transfer to go and sign. Well, that's who I'd
someone else's wages.
Instead.
Yeah. Are you playing the champ manager with wage taggle?
Yeah.
Just on Koopmeiners as well, to come back to him. Sorry, I've completely forgot with Stefan Pacetic. Like that's him.
That's another one.
That's a young him.
On the Rabiot thing as well. He probably. I don't know if Liverpool still have the no dickhead policy.
Yeah, but I was thinking that when I saw
it. The way he left PSG wasn't great. Like, he was in a nightclub after he got beat, liking tweets about the team.
He doesn't pass the check on
didn't
that.
I think he liked Evra's post, didn't he, about Man United beating PSG and all that. Yeah. It got pretty grim and it hasn't gone swimmingly well. So
I think Klopp would have been keen.
For France, he's sound, decent player, and to be able to get into that midfield, you must be really good. But I just don't see enough in club in terms of what he does for his club, and also, like you said there, 200k a week on a 29-year-old who, just seems like he causes he's a bit unsettled wherever he goes and causes like rumours and stuff. Is just not a bit of
people might draw the comparisons between him and Thiago in terms of the wage and the age profile. Obviously
Thiago is like
Thiago.
And the ultimate professional.
That is a thing as well.
But
Thiago brought all the quality in the world and was just a genius, quite frankly. But also brought every single trophy under the sun. That's not to say Adrian Rabiot's trophy cabinet isn't absolutely stacked, by the way, because it absolutely is. But Thiago had been there, done it, and won man the match in most of the finals, so it was a different conversation.
Yeah, it makes sense. Right then, we'll going to take a quick break. Before we do, for those of you who are watching live on YouTube right now, let us know some players or some links that you've seen over the last couple of days or whatever that you'd like us to discuss after the break. We will be speaking about Karim Adeyemi, so you don't have to mention him, but if you've got anyone else you'd like us to talk about, please do let us know in that YouTube chat. We'll be back in about a minute's time. See you in a sec. Hey everyone, would you like to get your hands on this? It is a shirt signed by two Liverpool legends, two Scouse Liverpool legends as well, Steve McMahon and John Aldridge. If you want a chance to win this amazing shirt, all you got to do is be a Redmen Plus Legend subscriber. Each and every month we give away signed LFC merchandise, and at the end of July we'll be giving this special prize to one of our Legend subscribers. So if you're one of our Redmen Plus Captain subscribers, just go to the website, go to my account, upgrade and become a Legend subscriber. If you're not subscribed to Redmen Plus, go to the website, redmenplus.com. Join us as a legend, get all of our amazing content in video and in podcast forms, get access to the Discord, but most importantly, get into the prize draw each and every month. This month you could get your hand on a belter just like this. Yep, welcome back. We had some names in the YouTube chat. Thanks for those. We'll get to those or some of those in a moment. Chloe, I'll start with you then. Earlier this week, Sky Germany reported that Liverpool were interested in signing Borussia Dortmund's Karim Adeyemi, or Karim. Potato. Let's go Karim. Okay. Karim Adeyemi. They said Liverpool and Chelsea are among the Premier League sides interested in him. AC Milan and Juventus are also interested in the left footer. Today, it's been revealed, I suppose, or reported by Simon Jones of the Mail that Adeyemi kind of open to a move, but if he leaves Dortmund, it's only going to be to a team who are playing Champions League football, and that it would be for around £35 million what Borussia Dortmund are asking for him.
Okay, that's changed my thoughts.
Because it's fair to say, rough diamond, like tons of pace, doesn't always know what to do with it. Anyone who watched the Champions League final will be aware of that one. I'm going to take that João Neves comment down. We'll come back to João in a moment. So yeah, Karim Adeyemi, £35 million. Just see anything in this?
35, I'd be interested in, mainly because I know last season he was he played predominantly on the left wing, but he has played a lot on the right wing before. He's left-footed, which means he can cut in, like Mo Salah does. The problem I have with him is that he's really good on the counter-attack. He's really good to a certain point, and then you get in and around the area and he's absolutely garbage. He's got no output, really. And I'm sorry, if you're not doing it in the Bundesliga, then I've got a little bit of a problem. I do like him, though. I think when he signed for Dortmund, I was really quite jealous that he had managed to sign him. Like you said there, rough diamond. I still think you can work on him. He's still only 22, I think. Yeah. So, look, I expected you to say something ridiculous as a price because it's Dortmund and they usually turn players brilliant, and he's still one of their projects, so I'd have expected more than 35. 35 is a very low risk for him. I think he can be a good squad player right now. I wouldn't put him on that left-hand side. I think Gakpo deserves his glory right now to go there. Obviously, Diaz is in a Copa America final. But as a potential backup as a right winger and a squad player for 35, I'd be quite interested in it. You just need to focus on getting him actually to be creative in terms of goal contributions, because like I said, he's so good with the ball at his feet, taking on players, driving at them, being direct, but then when he gets in one-on-one situations, it's like he loses his head a little bit. And that final where I don't know why he just didn't go the way his body and his momentum was going, and instead he decided to completely change the direction of himself. That was a little bit mad, but like I said, 22 years of age. If you'd have told me without the price tag, I'd probably said no. But that price tag, I'm all for as a potential backup right winger.
Comment here from DPS1, who probably echoes a lot of our thoughts. Adeyemi's numbers worry me. He needs work. The guy does miss so many chances. His numbers for Borussia Dortmund: 66 games, 14 goals, and 8 assists. What he did do is show that he can play in all 3 forward positions, so he's got that versatility. Yep. 35 times as a left winger, scoring 11, and 5 assists. As a right winger, 27 games, 3 assists and 3 goals as well. He had a couple of games playing centre forward as well when he had injuries or whatever, or change of formation. So he's got the versatility, he's young enough. It just reminds me a little bit of Darwin Núñez in that he's someone who's going to need a lot of work. Do you think Liverpool could be comfortable having 2 of those? Because if you can get Adeyemi, by the way, he's 22 and he's not long moved to Dortmund, and it's been all right. It hasn't been amazing. It hasn't been complete garbage. And you can be the one where he develops. You could end up with like a superstar player. It's just, are you happy having 2 players who probably need a little bit more work, and are 2 of those rough diamond type players in your squad at the same time? Yeah,
that's the difficult one, isn't it? I guess, to use the word projects again, if you've got 2 of them on the pitch at the same time in particular, then you might have an issue at certain times. 2 people who probably need more chances than you'd like in terms of gilt-edged ones to actually finish. That can become problematic. I'm a big fan of Karim Adeyemi. Like Chloe mentioned a moment ago, I think I was absolutely gutted when we didn't get him, when we were linked when he was originally at RB Salzburg, when he made the move to that well well-trodden path, of course, from Salzburg to Dortmund. And it hasn't really happened for him over in Germany. I expect him to actually hit the ground running and sort of follow the same trajectory, maybe not as an Erling Haaland, but something along those lines, if truth be told. Again, hasn't worked out that way. I do wonder whether the positional stuff and the versatility is obviously a big sort of plus and a real sort of positive in and around him. However, he was predominantly, pretty much exclusively, a centre-forward at Salzburg, and it feels like shifting into the wings a little bit more hasn't exactly aided his development, if it's fair to say. In terms of what he has at his disposal, absolutely rapid. So I like that a hell of a lot. I think the comparisons between sort of like, or the possibility between him being a backup to Mo Salah makes a whole ton of sense. And it's important to remember that Salah's move to the Premier League didn't work out. Like, we could have spoke about his numbers and being a bit of a flop, if you like, when he's during his Chelsea days. Yeah, so to sort of write him off based on a move that hasn't worked out in the way which you'd like is foolish for me. So yeah, I think there's a hell of a lot to like about these links. And Liverpool, I think I said to you the other day, see, Liverpool and I love a sort of a redemption story where it hasn't worked somewhere, and we sort of tap into that and say, don't worry, we'll come, we'll nurture you, we'll make you better, we'll get you back on the right track, and ends up being sort of an unbridled success. So I think there's a hell of a lot to be interested in here. I think Arne Slot's ability to improve players and coach players and find the niche and find a way to get the absolute maximum out of them makes this feel even more attractive. But above all else, the top line for me, 22 years old is close to it, but 35 million quid.
It's
like Chloe said, so I said the other day, it's almost no risk at Liverpool level. Like, if you're a mid to lower table Premier League side, you're spending that money, you need to get it right. But for Liverpool, it's very similar to the Ryan Gravenberch deal for me. 35 million quid. That really does feel like, if it doesn't work, it's so silly to talk about it when it's that sort of money, because it's still a lot of money, certainly to you and I. But at that sort of level of the Premier League, you're like, kind of whatever a little bit.
What he would bring, Chloe, is a pacey option to play on the right-hand side if Mo Salah isn't available, for whether he's injured, rested, or whatever's going on.
AFCON in the future,
maybe yeah, potentially those kind of things. Who knows? But Liverpool do struggle without Salah in terms of, they actually win quite a few of the games, but they've had to completely change their setup in times gone by. Again, Arne Slot's coming in. We'll see how Liverpool do with Salah on the right-hand side and what his role is. But he is that raw, electric pace that Liverpool do lack. I mean, Mo Salah's kind of lost a little bit. He's changed his game. But, you know, Harvey Elliott going out there or whatever, it just isn't the same. Adeyemi is a left-footed player. He can play on the right-hand side and can at least offer you that blistering pace that, like I say, Liverpool sometimes lack without Salah on the pitch.
Yeah, and look, being the understudy of Salah, that you should embrace that, because the absolute knowledge and what you're going to learn from him is ridiculous. He is world class. He has done this in the Premier League for 6 seasons now. Like, he is at the top of world football and has been. So him coming in and being a backup and you know, the kind of understudy to Salah, he should relish that opportunity. And like you said there, rapid. Imagine, you know, Salah's ran them ragged, and who knows where it is. But look, we all are going to assume Salah's going to come back as the Salah. Yeah. But he might not be able to play every single game this season because of the injury season that he had towards the end of last season. So I think to bring him on 70 minutes in, everyone's going to be like, are you messing me? You've got the link up between Darwin Núñez. Both of them will be willing to run in behind, but actually with the ball at his feet and being so direct, Adeyemi is really, really good at that. He's got the ability to take players on. And something else I'd like to mention is, look, I don't think we've got a major problem at left wing, not at all. But if you wanted to, look, we saw last season where Diaz went on the right and it kind of surprised defenders because he just could hit the ball. He didn't have to take a touch inside. If something wasn't working for you and you needed to switch your plan, just switch your left wing and right wing for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and you've got a left-footed player on that left wing who can just hit it first time. So the money, I did not know it was that cheap. And I say cheap for
it is in Premier League terms of the pinnacle of it, yeah.
So I think that's a no-brainer. I'd be absolutely all over that, because I think before he joined Dortmund, the money was at Salzburg. I thought his potential was honestly off the track.
Goals,
yeah, he was brilliant. So I think there's something there. He'll get more chances with Liverpool as well in terms of actual chances at his feet. Hopefully he can start burying them.
Just quickly on him, sorry, he'd probably be the most versatile of all our attackers if he arrived, because he's the one who can play across all three. Diaz has done it a tiny bit. I don't love Diaz on the I don't love Jota on the right either, truth be told. No. I think a lot of them fit into two of the positions, not the third one. I think Adeyemi would probably have the most amount of football in all three positions, because I said before, he played almost only as a centre forward when he was at Salzburg. He's played a bit on both wings at Dortmund. I don't think many of our forwards will have done as much football in all three as he has.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they have. You're right.
So that's another. If you're going to be a sick forward option, having that level of versatility would be a massive tick in the box.
Yeah. So like I say, the reports are that he wants Champions League footy because he was linked with Chelsea. So they definitely haven't.
It'd hurt me if they got him. That's what I would say.
I mean, to be fair, what Chelsea need is another young, pacey winger because
you can play.
Obviously,
they haven't got enough of those on 8-year contracts. So maybe we'll keep an eye on that one. But you're right. I think he's a good player. I think he'd do your head in, and I think you'd have to accept that at times. But
Darwin
also,
Núñez does my head in though. So.
I know, but that's my point. That can you have two of them? Because you can just about get away with
one.
There's
always that someone like him. There's always that chance. And if we were spending 60-70 million on it, I'd be saying no, it's too much money, it's for too much of a risk. But there's always that chance with someone like that who has shown in the past that they can absolutely bang goals in for fun. That you just get it right, and then who knows what happens then.
Also, I mean, look, I don't think him and Núñez are going to be on the pitch a lot at the same time. If I'm thinking that Arne Slot wants his number 9 to be Darwin Núñez, I would love Jota, but Jota's not going to be available for that time. Who knows if he's available? But I don't think they'll have a lot of time because he's not going to displace Salah. So Salah's always going to be starting these games. It's just another option for us. And it's another option for if Gakpo or Diaz or Jota need a rest to bring on Adeyemi and say, go on, take the minutes off them.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. It's one to watch for sure where he ends up. We asked you guys, obviously, earlier on for some links or some players you'd like us to talk about. Let's go with to Mikey, who says, Frimpong links, guys. What do you think? Well, he didn't say that. He didn't say that at all. He said, Frimpong links. What do you think, guys? No. What do you guys think? got there in the end.
Words
that was like the IKEA sentence. All the pieces were there.
Yeah,
I just needed the instructions to get them together. So for those who don't know, Sport Bild reported the other day that Bayer Leverkusen star Jeremy Frimpong eyes Liverpool switch, saying that he's reported he got a sight set on a move to Liverpool. Liverpool apparently interested. Dan, who knows? Again, the last thing Liverpool need is a right back at this moment in time.
Well, that's a right winger.
But that's a consideration.
If Liverpool were going to sign him, it feels very much like he'd have to be a right winger because early on we spoke about Koopmeiners and positions and stuff like in Trent and Conor Bradley. Liverpool have got 2 right backs who I'm sure they're more than happy with. I don't see a world where the manager thinks Frimpong's better than Trent. He might think he's better than Bradley at this moment in time. Yeah. So yeah, what were your initial thoughts when you saw that he's reportedly got his sight set on a move to Liverpool, and Liverpool apparently reciprocating that and could be interested in him?
It's hard to ignore that £33 million release clause.
But it runs out like in a week. This week, doesn't it?
I get that, but as much as I don't think we need him, that is crazy for such a good player. Like he's influential, he's talismanic really for that Bayer Leverkusen success story last season. So hell of a lot to like about the player, but again I come back to it. He's very different to Trent. Trent's better, but they're so different. It's almost unfair to compare the two. Like Trent,
he's pacey.
He's rapid, he's skillful. Trent's got a little bit of that, but it's Trent's passing range, isn't it? We all know we do exactly this. And Conor Bradley's breakout season was just so good. His levels were so high. I'd feel daft sort of stunting his development as well and putting somebody ahead of him and making him third choice all of a sudden. And you could even include João Gomez in that sort of right back pecking order as a break glass option as well. So definitely do not need any more additional right back options. The right wing stuff, a little bit. He'd be more of an out-and-out right winger. More of he get to the byline right winger and cross it. Do Liverpool want that? Do we have the strikers to sort of accommodate that in terms of getting balls into the box? I'm not entirely sure. So, yeah, again, I come back to it. Brilliant footballer. Would be an incredible piece of business if Liverpool pulled it off. How we sort of manoeuvre that and circumnavigate the squad issues thereafter, I can't quite get my head around. So, as much as 33 million is an absolute bargain for a player of that calibre, it almost feels like a bit of a waste of 33 million if Jeremy Frimpong can be that, because I genuinely can't fit him into the side.
Yeah, thanks. What are your thoughts, Colin?
33 million is so tempting though.
But for what is he at Liverpool? I don't understand.
But I think he's near world class, to be honest.
I get it.
I mean, him and Grimaldo set the entirety of Europe on fire with the assists and the goal contributions those two got last season. Once again, it's one of those signings that it would really pain me if the likes of Manchester City or someone got him, because I think he's brilliant. Like you mentioned there, I don't know where I'm fitting him into my side, but for 33 million, do you want to come and be a squad player?
It's a nice headache to have, I guess, as well. Liverpool are never going to play with a back 3/5, and that would be ideal.
At
really,
this point, I'm signing Karim Adeyemi and Jeremy Frimpong for 60 million, just saying, I'm hoping.
Just rapid. Just run, lads, fast as you can. We'd win the 100 metre race in with those two.
I think he's really good. I think he's boss. Is he 24? Have I made that up? Grimaldo's the older one.
He did play that much.
He's 23. Yeah, he didn't, which was a bit mad.
I kept expecting him to come on,
but yeah, I think he's boss. I don't know where he'd fit into the side, but it will pay me if someone else buys him for 33 mil, because I think he'll be world class for them.
We'll see how that goes. I mean, they've got a few days to get that release clause done, but I'm sure there might be a deal to be done down the line. Last one then that we're going to speak about. Let me just bring it up the comments. It was about João Neves. Let's see who's presented in. It was Mr. Moses, nice name, Mr. Moses. Nice. Says, any João Neves chat? Well, Mr. Moses, I can satisfy your need for some João Neves chat. So thanks to the guys at LFC Transfer Room who kindly translated the CM Journal report. Says Liverpool now ready to make a move, Dan. Liverpool are now ready to move forward and make a formal proposal to sign Benfica midfielder João Neves. And then there's a nice little gif that someone's made there of a
was that him in our kit?
Yeah, I like it.
Nice little AI mock-up. Well done to Andy_GFX for making that one. He said Arne Slot will continue to evaluate his players, but he wants someone with the characteristics of a Neves. I'm sure he does. 19 years old. The release clause is £100 million plus. So if Liverpool want him and Benfica are true to their word of holding out for that clause, Liverpool are going to have to shatter their transfer record for a 19-year-old midfielder. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, where's the Caicedo money, John? I don't hate it. I'll be honest. As crazy as it is, and it is absolutely ludicrous. And do I think Liverpool are going to do it? No, not necessarily, but I definitely like it too. Because I think as much as he's still very young and there'd be obviously an adaptation period whilst he got used to the Premier League and all that sort of stuff, this to me feels like one of the next best footballers in world football, actually. And they're the sort of conversations I want Liverpool to be in. And whilst he might not necessarily hit the ground running, we might have to sort of make do, if you like, with your Taro Endos, your Alexis McAllister, Stefan Pagettis a little bit as well as the six for a while. He's just exceptional, isn't he? He's absolutely exceptional. And we spoke before about what is or who is closest to being sort of your Rodriguez and your Declan Rice. And whilst I think he's different to them a little bit, he's probably
he's
sort
like
of
a foot short on the ball for a start.
Yeah, but he's sort of the next cab off the rank when it comes to that deepest line midfielder. And there again, that's the sort of player I want Liverpool to go out and get. As much Stefan Pagettis, I can't sort of get out of my head as well in terms of what it does for him, but they could probably coexist together. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot of money, crazy amount of money. But let's put it right. He's going to end up at one of the biggest clubs in world football, isn't he? He's going to be a Real Madrid, Manchester City, Manchester United, potentially Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. So why not? I guess it is a deal there to be done, and Liverpool have the money to do it. I'd love us to be all over this one.
It's worth mentioning, like a lot of people are mentioning his height, like he is. Russell says a 5'8" DM in the Premier League, LOL. But then we've got, Podol says Kante didn't do too bad in.
He was alright when he got the Kante, and still is.
Kante and Mascherano were only short as well. Well, 4 foot. I think Supernova taking the mick there. But you are right. Like it is a necessity that you have to be. It helps. Don't get me wrong. If you're building the perfect DM, he probably looks like Rodri, or probably is Rodri at this moment in time. But there's a reason the reason Rodri is seen on such a high level is because there aren't many of them. Like I said, Sergio Busquets was seen as just this level as well, because they just don't grow on trees. They're not always available for everybody. Chloe. Now Neves, what he is lacking, of course, in height, and that you can't ignore that he's a shorter guy, but he is also a quality footballer, and he's proven that time and time again.
technically, he is absolutely brilliant. I mean,
Excuse me.
The best thing about him is, even though he's now DM and he kind of does specialise in that, it's his progressive passing as well. It's the way he is so, he can pick the ball up and he finds a forward pass instantly, and that is what Rodri has and what Declan Rice has. They're so brilliant defensively, but Rodri can pick these eye of a needle passes. He's sensational at it. He comes up with massive goals in big moments for Spain and Manchester City. So yeah, I think this is a lad who is boss. I think he's world class, and I think he will be one of the next best midfielders. The thing is that it's a lot of money to put on a 19-year-old. And look, I'm fine with him being short. My only problem is he's got McAllister next to him, who's also short. Yeah. So you're going to need maybe a
Endo
Dom.
as well.
Yeah, you're going to need maybe a Dom next to him who's a little bit taller. But so what if they're small? You can still have a lot of physicality. He might not be winning the headers as much if someone puts someone on him. But Berg step up a couple of yards, or Kanate or someone. So yeah, he's very, very good. Do I see Liverpool buying him for that much? No. But yeah, I think he's going to be world class. If
you're going to invest money, then invest in a young player. Liverpool are going to do that with Moises Caicedo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the aerial thing, I get that entirely, and obviously we need to keep that in consideration. But Chloe touched upon it there. Like, you can be shorter and still have brilliant aerial prowess. I mean, Thiago, I thought, was just exceptional in the air for somebody who wasn't exactly a giant, was he? I mean, you mentioned there a couple of DMs who weren't even 6 foot plus, and Claude Makelele falls into that category as well, and he was one of the best I've ever seen play that role. So it's not the be all and end all for me. I think you'd like him to be a bit taller and a bit stronger potentially, but yeah, it's not everything to me. But as I say, if Liverpool are going to spend big this summer, I think we'd all like it to be on that position. It was similar last summer, and that hasn't really changed. I think the one sort of glaringly obvious shortfall, to come back to the height, Liverpool need to sort of catch up when it comes to catching up with Arsenal and Manchester City, is DM. Like, every time we speak about them and what do we need to do to get us to that level, what do we need to do to really push and really challenge and hopefully leapfrog them and win the Premier League, whether people expect us to do that this season, next season, whatever. I think at some point, the way the modern game is played now and how absolutely integral DM is, whether it be a destroyer, a specialist, or as Chloe says, somebody who can be more progressive, is sort of the perfect mould in terms of your vices. They've got the passing lanes which they can play through and all that sort of stuff, and I think Liverpool lack that right now. I absolutely love Alexis McAllister. I really like Stefan Bajcetic. I think Wataru Endo did a boss job last season at times, but none of them can hold a candle, unfortunately, to what Rodri and Declan Rice are doing at the moment. Now, if João Neves is going to be, or is close to that already, then why not? And as I said, Liverpool have already shown that if the right player is out there and they see an opportunity, like doing Moises Caicedo for that 24 hours, of course, the money exists to which to do it. If this kid falls under them sort of brackets, that sort of category, why not?
I'd also say, look, if Liverpool have the same intensity as last season and under Jurgen, but they control games of football more, well, he is brilliant at that as well. He's not just that DM, like we mentioned. He is so good on the ball and he can control games, and that is what Rodri also does, and Declan Rice also does from those positions. My biggest fear is Liverpool don't sign him this summer, or he doesn't go somewhere this summer, and next summer it's, aye lad, do you want to come and be Rodri's backup? So in 4 years' time, you already made to just slot in there.
He's so Man City bound at some point, it hurts.
It's unbelievable.
It really hurts. Unless Liverpool do that quick, or someone else does that quick. Man City probably don't need that right now because of Rodri.
He's tired though. Rodri is so tired.
It's not out of the realms of possibility to go and do it, but Rodri's still performing at such a level whereby they're not even considering it. But
they didn't need Calvin Phillips though, and he bought him for 50.
Calvin Phillips was 50. That's a difference.
£100 million.
Turns out they quite literally didn't need Calvin Phillips either, by the way. But that's a different ballpark in terms of the figures, as you say there. But we're only 12 months away. We're only 12 months away from Rodri being sort of beyond it, potentially, hopefully, and João Neves being the person they look to.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. He's played 75 games for Benfica. He's played 9 times for Portugal as well. Liverpool they really want to look at players, so they've got the sample size if they want it. I mean, the report out of Portugal, Liverpool are probably considering a bid. I doubt, if I'm honest. I would probably temper that, but I don't think it's that. But of course they'd be looking at him, Chloe, because every club in Europe will be aware of him. Because why wouldn't you be? He's if there's a 19-year-old playing 70-odd games for Benfica and starting in the Euros, sent him in for Portugal, obviously everyone's going to have their eye on him. There's no secret here, you know, you're not getting a hidden gem. The world knows about everyone now, so certainly like everybody knows just how good João Neves is.
Yeah, and look, we spoke about DM last season, and there's not many of them going. It is one of them where the world-class DMs only come round every so often, and you've got to act fast with them. I mean,
they cost you a fortune.
They do.
Nowadays,
we've just seen Paulinho, who does start as DM for Portugal in that Euros. He's got off to Bayern, so if anyone else wanted him, he is now gone. So yeah, he is the next crop of players, isn't he? He is that next fit. So everyone should be looking at him, and everyone will be looking at him. It's who can afford to spend that much, who's willing to take that risk, because like I said, he is only 19. He could be hit with injuries. Who knows? You can't predict the lad's future. But yeah, like I said, I just fear that he's going to City at some point in my life, and he'll be unbelievable.
If Liverpool don't, somebody else will.
Yeah, Gordy says here, Jota commented in the Euros saying how he will be one of the best footballers in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if he's put a good word in. You absolutely, like I say, a guy who he started the Euros game. I think he made 2 appearances in the Euros with Portugal. He's played for them at such an age. There's no surprises whether Liverpool get him. Time will tell. I think we'd all be likely. We'd all like if that was the case. Dan, thanks very much. Chloe, thanks very much. Everyone who got involved in the chat on YouTube as well. Thank you guys. You're the best. We'll be back with another transfer podcast next week. See you all then.